This show is brought to you by Directory.com, the safest way to hire a contractor.
And we are back. Our next story is about who pays when the demo crew goes too far. Randy has the details.
So here's the story that every homeowner planning a remodel should hear. A homeowner hired a well-reviewed local contractor to refinish their garage, new drywall, paint, insulation, lighting, and a few electrical upgrades. And the signed quote specifically stated, remove drywall on ceiling and walls as needed, install insulation on walls and ceiling as needed, install drywall on walls and ceiling as needed. Finish and paint walls and ceiling. The demo team showed up and started working. A few hours later, the homeowner got this email. We regret to inform you that the workers on site today misread the work order and removed all the bad drywall in the garage instead of just the worst areas per the estimate. Unfortunately, we can't replace the drywall in the walls and the ceiling at that price. We are happy to send a change order for your approval or remove that item from the invoice and give you the demo already done at no cost to you. The homeowner was upset since it was not their mistake. They also say that they never specifically discussed which drywall sections would be removed other than the ceiling. After speaking with the owner, the situation was made a little more sense. The drywall that was removed was 30 plus years old. The crew took off the drywall to do some electrical work and realized that it was just too damaged to be reused. The owner explained that they wanted to replace the insulation while the drywall was down and to make sure that they meet code requirements. He also admitted that the communication was bad, but promised to come up with a revised quote that only breaks even on the costs. The question is the contractor's offer to break even fair? And what should homeowners do in this situation? Key takeaways, get very specific and that's what I was going to say. Ambiguity is never the case when you're writing up a contract or an estimate. Ask for a walkthrough beforehand. This is very common in construction, regardless of whether it's interior, exterior. You should always walk the project with the customer and help them understand. It also helps you when they're looking at the estimate later and reading the description. You've already had an opportunity to kind of help them understand and formulate what the costs are really going to be versus the simple job that they thought. Because oftentimes customers will oversimplify, not for negative reasons, but they'll oversimplify a job because of their layman. They don't understand what it really takes. In our company, we had to actually stop taking on projects inside of modular homes because there was so much, another gremlin that we would find after removing some subflooring or a wall or what have you, that it was so hard to get change orders signed because you can't see what's going on behind the wall in front of you. And so making sure that you're not ambiguous in your estimate and being very thorough and detailed. But I do believe that the word as needed was also in there as well. So that does cover the contractor. John, what do you think?
John does not have audio.
No, here we go. Yeah, so sorry about that. So I think the key word that I pulled out of there, and I actually went to the Reddit post too and kind of read all the comments, but the key word was misread the work order. Like that's a key phrase. Like it's a mission of guilt. So I would agree that as needed is something that I would have put on my contracts at one time. But I think there's three things I wrote down. One is I think it needed to be signed off on and simple as like the company cam pictures and like drawing up like touch this area, don't touch this area, like being very detailed. And then I do think that there's an oversight issue too, right? So like, from the contractor side, having somebody there to actually walk them through that. If I'm only going to be, if it's in a garage is what this feels like, and I'm tearing off one wall and not this other one, like I don't want to have that marked out either with spray paint or a Sharpie or something on the wall saying, touch this area. That's what I would say is like, the admission of misread work order. I almost feel that this is 90% on the contractor
Mhm.
for not having his details in order. So
And that, from if you're a homeowner and you're hiring a reputable contractor and you notice that one company is a little bit more expensive, it may be in their process that they're more expensive. And what I mean
yeah.
by that is, had there been a GC, had there been a project manager that had been
Mhm.
already filled in on the person who sold the job, walked it with them, and then they were there to make sure that the demo guys only tore out the one area, that is an additional cost to the company. That is the reason why your cost up front is more expensive. So oftentimes when you're comparing estimates, make sure you're comparing apples to apples, because if you're comparing a company that just arbitrarily sends guys to show up and hope they do the right thing versus the company that is a little bit more process oriented and has a little bit more structure, so they have a middleman in the middle, that guy costs the company money, so it's going to cost you more money as well. But at the end of the day, this doesn't happen then.
I also want to address my contractors listening to the show. We have so much technology in 2025. I know painting companies, advanced painting companies, have these cameras where each room they document, because if you have to move furniture. I remember when I my first construction business was flooring business, and we have to move a lot of furniture, and sometimes you have to prove that you didn't do something, you didn't break something. I have a homeowner suing me on a $3,000 job for $11,000. He was claiming the dent on the chair on the set. We moved the furniture, it was beautiful, but we have pictures. So he brought pictures to the court, and I remember a judge looked at his pictures, and it was a damage on the ceiling. He's like, I thought we're dealing with a flooring job. Why were we talking about ceiling? And he said, you want a $5,000 for kitchen set because of one dent on the back of one chair, where I actually personally did the job. I knew it was moved and stuff. You have to prove your innocence. You have to prove oftentimes that it was there. And there's absolutely zero reason not to use the technology. I talked to a contractor in Florida this week, Andy Keys, Fox Heaven. They are using 1,000 pictures per project. The roofing contractor. If you interior, I would double it. I mean, that's cheap. You come in. Insurance companies do the same thing. Document you to cover yourself. Whether you're a homeowner or a contractor, it's a good idea to do pictures before and after to protect yourself, because later that's going to be your claim. And by the way, I did not lose that case. I actually won that case, and I didn't have to pay anything. And that homeowner was accusing me of stealing his nightstand. And in his master bedroom, he has like the little door in the attic, so we opened it and we moved it, and at the end of the job, we forgot to put it back. It was just left in the attic. And when I did the final walk, he literally sent me emails like, you stole my nightstand, among other things. And I came in, opened it. It's sure enough standing right there. Sir, it's right there. I'm sorry we didn't put it back. The guy has a lot of furniture. Anyway, so if you're a painting contractor, remodeling contractor, be as detailed as possible. Provide the pictures. Company Cam is amazing, amazing. Like, you can do so many things for your crews. And if you're a roofing contractor, I mean, how often does crew replace the house next door? And it actually happens more times than you think. And because how work orders are written, and also sometimes ABC truck or supplier will will drop materials on the wrong house. Crew showed up, it's like close enough, and just go. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Dimitri the nightstand thief.
yeah, yeah, a new title. No, I'm with you on that too. Is like, I think about, there's been a couple of roofs that we have had that's torn off the wrong house, and of course we made it right. But you start to back up and think, well, where did we go wrong? And it comes down to setting the clear expectations, right? And just so much clarity. So it was SOPs like dropping a yard sign in there the night before the morning of, right? Just to make sure that the crew went there. The crew can't start until project managers on site. If you don't use project managers, then I would suggest that with that you should, right? So like, like just having as much stop gaps in there as what you can is really I mean, mistakes are going to happen anyway. Like you start cutting into a roof or into a wall in this situation, there's going to be mistakes. But like having oversight, in my mind, is just not an excuse to not have proper oversight. I think that's where guys go out of business, is because they don't invest in oversight.
Right. And I'll come to the customer's defense here as well. Oftentimes, when they find something after the job is completed, they like, for example, if they're looking up at their roof to look at the new roof and they notice some flashing looks a little funny, or they notice that this uh, gnome in their garden is broken or what have you, they're only looking because the project just finished and they're looking at the results, and that's the first time they noticed it. It may have already been broken. And so those pre-site, those pre inspection pictures showing, we had a customer who wanted us to replace his driveway because there was cracks in it, and he assumed that when we placed the shingles in his driveway, it cracked it. Well, fortunately, our project manager followed our rules and he took pictures of all around the house, and he even took pictures of the driveway. So we were able to show the customer dated photos that this was already like this. And he is like, "Oh, my bad. I guess I didn't notice." But of course, he saw heavy pallets there and assumed that's what caused the cracks. So taking those photos is so paramount to making sure you can shed any responsibility for things that were already like that.
Absolutely. Well, I want to share my personal verdict on this story. I think that contractor is in the wrong. I don't agree what been said to the homeowner. He said that we regret to inform you that a worker on site today misread the work order and removed all the bad drywall in the garage instead of just the worst areas per estimate. Unfortunately, we can't replace all the drywall. I'm a big believer in total extreme ownership. If that would be me, if that would be my guy, we would own the job. Like I would never ever say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we messed up and now we can't fix it." That's your job. You're the contractor. If your worker did something, you owe it. Now, when we come back after the break, we're gonna share one more story with you how small typo cost the homeowner $10,000. Do not go anywhere.